So even though I found Disney's live-action Aladdin to legitimately be fun and charming, the costume and set design is ugly as hell, and that cheapens the atmosphere of the film, limiting the spectacle and restricting us from fully immersing into the experience. I made a video where I redesigned the 2023 Little Mermaid, but whereas that film's costumes and sets were just underwhelming and bland, I think the design of Aladdin is just straight up unpleasant for the most part. It's often giving garish Disney Channel movie, and today we're gonna fix that. So let's dive right in. I'll start with the production design. One of the main things I think of when I think of the original animated Aladdin is the world it creates. The environments are so grand and opulent. The palace interiors particularly are massive and towering with gorgeous sleek marble floors and open spaces. The live-action film had no reason to not provide something equally as magnificent. The live-action palace is certainly ornate, but feels very small-scale and reminiscent of a TV production. And the wood floors are particularly not giving off the vibe I crave. So yeah, we're gonna go with a more spectacular, epic, large-scoped world that leans more into fantasy and makes the film as a whole feel a lot bigger. Because, the technology is available to create a magical world that only used to be possible through animation, so why would you not want to create breathtaking photorealistic environments that allow us to escape? And the Cave of Wonders in the film is so unspectacular. Let's amp up the grandeur and make it something truly thrilling to behold. And I like the scale of the interior, but that blue lighting is ugly. This is supposed to be an enchanted cave, so we're gonna add some magic and warmth. So yeah, that's generally the gist with the production design, more grand, epic, and fantastical, which would have a major impact on the atmosphere. Okay, now for the character designs. We'll just begin with Princess Jasmine because I want to. And since this video is specifically focused on the design of the character and not the casting, I can't replace Naomi Scott with a more appropriate actor, even though I want to, because casting a half-white, light-skinned actor with more European features as the first ever Disney princess of color who is very important to brown people and was a breakthrough for representation is just not a very thoughtful decision and takes away one of the very few roles specifically made for brown people. So yeah, we just are gonna have to ignore that for this video and focus on the design. And since Aladdin isn't set in a specific time or place and is a fictional blend of Middle Eastern and South Asian cultures throughout all of history, there's no need to be historically accurate. Okay, while I can appreciate that they tried to give her a variety of looks, and some are certainly more appealing than others, the fabrics, textures, and colors generally just look so garish and cheap in Party City and Spirit Halloween, which should never be the case for $1 billion picture, so generally we're gonna have her wardrobe be of more highbrow substance. But as a basis for all of the looks, we're just gonna focus on her main look, which is the classic teal one from the animated film. It's not as treacherously horrible in the actual film as it was when we got the first look of it on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, mostly because we couldn't see the pants and the whole peacock motif, but it's still giving Halloween costume. Especially that skin-colored midriff section, which is just straight up Party City. For my redesign, I went with a lighter, cooler, softer shade of teal, which is much less garish, and I went for more interesting textures and fabric that didn't look cheap. Like the design they went with, I kept the whole bird motif through the feather designs on the top and the embroidery on the pants and sheer sleeves. I know the actual film wanted to make Jasmine's outfits more modest than the animated film, and this definitely is, but we get some midriff in there because I don't think bodies are inherently sexual, and certainly in the case of Jasmine, she is very much in control of her appearance and has agency over herself, so yeah. And I also made her hair more voluminous and her makeup more fitting for Jasmine. I'm not a Photoshop expert, so forgive any wonkiness here, but I feel like I still get the point across. As for Aladdin's look in the 2019 film, I just hated it. It's such an eyesore to me. They tried to incorporate a sort of modern angle to his outfit, as well as a kind of Marty McFly vibe, but it just isn't working for me. That hooded vest and that unappealing shade of red just does not read as Aladdin, and the trousers look more like joggers, and they'd be much cooler if they were baggy and puffy as hell. And like Jasmine, they also gave Aladdin a more modest design when compared to his animated counterpart, meaning they gave him a shirt under his vest, and I'm not vibing with it. As you'll see in my design, I'm not fully against him being a bit more covered up, but also who cares if he's shirtless? Genie gets to be shirtless, let Aladdin be shirtless, it's cool. Anyway, yeah, here's my design. I was inspired by the costume from the Broadway show where he has a quilted patchwork vest, and I think that looks interesting and fun, while being distinguishably Aladdin. Under the vest, I gave him a slutty little sleeveless knitted top because it allows him to have more than just a vest while still letting him show skin. And of course, we need some baggy trousers because that's my favorite part of the look. Now, let's try Jafar. Once again, this video is just about the design of the characters, so as much as I think the casting here is just bafflingly out of place, and I will never understand what they were going for, we're just gonna work with what we got. I don't think having a young, hot Jafar is inherently a bad decision, but Marwan Khanzari still is just too soft and doesn't have a sinister bone in his body, so they could have at least made him look more intimidating or striking. His costumes are fine, actually, but this man really needed some assistance with makeup. The animated character was definitely wearing makeup, so it certainly could have served him to give him a more bold, sharp, angular look in the live-action film. So here's my redesign for the character, and while it doesn't change that he's still severely miscast, this would have had a much bigger impact, made his presence more intense, less boring, and would have allowed us to actually buy him as a villain. So yeah, as far as the genie goes, when he's in his human form, the costumes just look so cheap and Halloween-y, so that can just be fixed with better material and colors. But when he's in his genie form, I actually like the design they went with. I mean, yeah, the CGI is wonky in parts, mostly because the body proportions are too human-like, and it wouldn't have looked as awkward if his shape was more exaggerated and fantastical. Not in a cartoony way, but in a way where it doesn't just read as Will Smith's face pasted on an uncanny valley man's body painted blue. Anyway, I hope at this point you understand the general vibe I'd go with for the costumes and environments in Aladdin. Grand, epic, striking, ornate, and beautiful, not cheap and garish and ugly. Let me know what you think, and please suggest what you'd like to see in future videos, because I'd love to know what you guys want to watch. Alright,